All right, what's up, guys? I have a special treat for you. This is going to be a retelling of a Squirrel Nest video that I went to in Corona Park. This is in Flushing, Queens. Now there I am on location. Basically, prior to this, there was a Charmander nest. Now that's where I got a portion of my candy for the two Charizards that I now have, one an 1800 CP and one a 1700 CP. I'm coming close to my third one. I have an 1111 CP Charmeleon, and well, anyway, that's where I got all my Charmander candy. Now, since this last migration, this area turned into a Squirtle nest. So I went out there. I went out there with a full bag of Pokeballs. I think prior to that, I had like a few gym battles and pretty much emptied all my potions up, just so I was ready there and I had enough Pokeballs. Now this was my first Squirtle of the night. He was basically, Flushing Corona Park is situated right next to the Met Stadium. The Met Stadium is a Major League Baseball team, and they play out there in Queens. Citi Field, that's where, that's the acronym, Citi Field. There's a gym out there. Usually it fluctuates between Valor and Mystic and stuff like that. This time I went out there. I didn't focus on the gym. I went straight for the Squirrel Nest, and I was pretty determined to get my Blastoise for the day. If you guys watched the video, you will see me evolving a Blastoise. It was a very, very, very close call. I almost thought that I wasn't gonna get my my Blastoise that day, just because I wasn't gonna have enough candy. So at this point, I was just checking the radar, and I was like, okay, it appears to be that there's definitely a Squirrel Nest here. It's like seeing is believing, you know. I used Fast Pokemap for most of the night, and had it not been for Fast Pokemap, I don't think I would have had any luck with it. When I was looking for Charmanders, I went to this area actually once or twice to look for Charmanders, and the first time I was out there, I was pretty much without anything, and I caught maybe 30 candy worth of Charmanders, and which is a lot actually, just in one sitting. But I think I would have done a much better job if I had Fast Pokemap, or a better tracker, for that matter. And so I got really lucky here that I had Fast Pokemap to search for these Squirtles. Now the night kind of started. I went out at about 7 or 6, and it took me a little bit to get out there, just because it's really far. You have to go in through the city, and then from the city you got to get into Queens, and then once you get on the 7 train, then it takes just a little bit to get there as well. It's about 25 minutes, 30 minutes ride, because everything is local. All the stops are local. I'm gonna catch. I caught a lot of Squirtles that day, but I had maybe 5 or 6 that ran away from me. And there were some really high CP ones that ran off. They were in their 600s and their 700s. I had some little guys run off too. I didn't believe too much into it. You're gonna see a little bit of gameplay later on, but for majority, I just pretty much went with it. I threw regular Pokeballs. I knew I wasn't gonna throw any Great Balls or Ultra Balls on these Pokemon. For most of the time, I didn't even use Raspberries, because I guess it's when you're in a nest, you're just, it's you have nothing to worry about. You know that you're not gonna miss that Pokemon. So I pretty much if I saw a really high CP one, which you guys will see later, I had 700s and stuff like that, I actually didn't really worry too much about throwing Raspberries at most, but with those high ones, I did. I actually did throw some Raspberries on the higher ones. Now let's see let's see the Squirrel that I'm catching here. We got a 525. They were pretty. Look, they're all starters, and you guys know with starters it's really hard to catch them. So they were a little bit difficult sometimes. And I don't really recall this one. Let's see, how many times did it take for me to catch this one? Okay, looks like I got him within a few Pokeballs. It was a pretty good catch actually, 525. Okay, so I had 19 candy. Okay, you see these observation towers? That's, if you remember Men in Black, they had the first two main characters, like in the first episode, they were climbing on this guy when the cockroach was trying to escape. Now to the left over there is the museum. I don't think I'm gonna spin this Pokestop. Oh, and also I was pretty sure I wasn't gonna try to catch anything else. At one point, like, Corona Field is like, I wouldn't say it's like a mile. I would definitely say it's like the size of at least a football field. I don't know if that's a mile, but it like from one point to the other, it takes like a really long time to walk. So I was pretty much like situated in one area. I kept walking up and down, up and down. Like, you see, that's like the south end where those observation towers are. The Garden of Life, that's like just a little park bench over there with like a gazebo. And the museum is to my left. Now, if I keep going north, that's already the highway. You see, to my left is the highway. And then that big circle is like some kind of parking lot or a building. And right behind me here is where those observation towers were. And most of the night I spent walking between that. Because that's where most of the spawns were. There was a period for like maybe, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, like nothing would spawn. And like it was a little disappointing. Okay, you see, that's where the museum is. And right in the bottom over there, that's where the observation deck is. And then that big circle, that's where this like big metal globe is. If you remember Men in Black, where the one of the spaceship saucers went through. That's that area. So basically that was the hot spot for all of the squirrels, and that's pretty much where I stayed. I tried not going anywhere too far from that. At one point, like, there was like hardly any spawns, so I did actually go a little bit more south towards some of the water areas, and at that point, like, I realized I made a mistake. I'll show you here in the episode. But this was a cool spawn right here. There was like 2 squirrels at once. There was a lot of squirrels. I was like, this is like squirrel heaven. I think I was standing here for a second just like trying to be like, oh my god, there's 2 squirrels here. What do I do? What do I do? Look at them, they're just standing here. I was taking screenshots like crazy. I was like, yo, I've never seen this before. 726. This was one of the highest squirrels that I caught that evening. And it was between him and another one that I actually that I chose to evolve my Blastoise. He was an easy catch. Look at that, just with a regular Pokeball. Hardly, like, I didn't throw any raspberries, nothing, and we caught him just like that. There was another one. Look at that, 688. They were actually really high. Actually, I filmed this a while ago, and I didn't put it up right away because. This was at the point when my dad passed away, like a few weeks prior to this. And for a while I didn't really do anything. I just like stayed at home, and I edited a few videos like for his like tribute, like memorial type of deal. So this was like the first major thing I did, kind of, I guess, for myself, but also just to get out there and do something. So the Squirrel Nest was actually, oh, this one fled on me. Yeah, I left that in there because, you know, it's like there was like 6, 7, 8 Pokemon that did fly off on me. Magikarp was my buddy at the time. Right now it's a Porygon, and look at that. Okay, that right there, like that's the south area. That's where the observation decks are. So that's where I was, and then there was an Executor. You see, at this point, like nothing was spawning where those observation decks were. So I was like, what do I do? What do I do? So I would walk around a little bit just to like spawn, just see what else is out there. So basically, yeah. So my pops passed away, and I was like, I don't really want to do anything. So this was like the first major thing I did. And I went out, and at first I was like, man, I'm so excited, I'm gonna do something. And I was pretty encouraged too, because I was like, I don't think my dad would have wanted me like not to do anything, just, you know, sit at home and bum myself out. So, you know, I kind of just went out there, and let me see, which one is this. This was a 91. I'm trying to wait for the other squirrel that was like my highest one that I ended up evolving. So yeah, so I went out there, but it was actually raining. It was drizzling, it was raining, and it was actually pretty appropriate for a Squirtle nest, you know, that there was just a little bit of mist out there, given that Squirtle is a water Pokemon. So look at it. Even the 91 CP was just difficult to catch. I had so much fun, you guys. It's like, if you're in an area where there's a nest, you gotta go out there. Like, whatever Pokemon it is. Like, first I went for the big guys, right? I went for Charmander, then I went for the Squirtle. Right now we are in the period. Right now, basically today's October 25th. So tomorrow, the 26th to the 1st of November, we are going to have the Halloween event. And for this event, basically all the candy is double. If whatever you catch will be 2, so instead of 3, you're gonna have 6 candy. Whatever you transfer, instead of 1 candy, it's gonna be 2. Let's say you hatch an egg that comes, like Magikarp for example, 6 candies, right? Usually you get 12 candies. If you have a buddy, I'm not sure if you get double of that or if you get 4 of that. So I'm gonna have to like see it actually when I first walk a buddy. Right now it's Porygon, so you get 1 candy per 3 kilometers. So I'll see if I get 4 candies for that. So basically, right now I still want to go up to, I think I'm gonna go up to a Squirrel Nest again, and we have one at a McKinley Park. Since taping this video, actually the location of the Squirrel Nest changed, so he's at a McKinley Park. When this was a Squirrel Nest, it is now a Magmar. It was a Growlithe for like a few days, but then it switched quickly to a Magmar nest. And I don't know if I want to like ride all the way out there for Magmars and stuff. So yeah, so that's me over. You see how there's a highway there? There was actually squirrels over on the other side of the highway. And now I couldn't figure out how to get out there, but I kind of stayed within the vicinity of the observation decks. And you see there's like the little right portion, that was the field. And on the left side, that's where the decks were. So you see that's to the left, that's where the observation decks are, and I was like flat in the middle, and that's where I just had my Execute, and there was just another Squirtle. I guess I should also add that there was not a lot of people out there. There was not a lot of people. Now the park closes at 9. Okay, I had security come up to me at about 10 o'clock. I forgot how long I stayed, but I had them come up to me at some point and be like, "Hey, excuse me, sir." They're like, "Sir?" And at first I was like, "Who's calling me sir?" So I was like, "Yes." He's like, "The park is closed." And now I quickly was like, "Oh, okay." I was just playing Pokemon. I'm sorry. He kind of like he didn't laugh at me. He kind of just like chuckled. He's like, "I know." So I was like, okay. I was like, if somebody didn't tell me to leave, I probably would stay here for the whole night. Especially coming close to the evening, I was coming pretty close to not even having enough candy. Thankfully I came through. Some of these Squirtles, like these 488s, these 500s, like sometimes I'll catch them and I'll hold on to them, not thinking I'll get something higher. And when evolving a Pokemon comes, like when the time comes to evolve a Pokemon, you usually get something higher. And it used to be that nests did not have really good IV Pokemon. Now they have really good IV Pokemon. The one that I'm gonna evolve, he had pretty strong IVs. I don't recall exactly, but I'll show them to you guys. So see, at that point, I was not close at all to getting what I wanted. So I was ready to go though, because it was drizzling outside, and I was like, I don't know how long I want to stay. And I lucked out because there's so many Pokestops there, and I came with a full Pokebag, and most of the evening I was just clearing out potions, because I was like, I'm not about to just like I don't need potions right now when I'm out here trying to catch on Pokemon. So I just pretty much transferred as much potions as I could. So here the other Squirtle spawned. At this point, like, sometimes what would happen with the GPS is because LaGuardia is like 5-6 miles away from there. Like, it's really, really close, LaGuardia Airport. Now, New York is known for JFK Airport, and has, I don't know how many terminals it has a whole bunch, but LaGuardia is like the second biggest airport. And I think those airplanes were kind of messing with my GPS, because my guy would kind of, like, my trainer would run around sometimes, and like, I wasn't sure like why sometimes my stuff would run away, because I had a really good connection, I had a lot of data, but I think something there was kind of like affecting it a little bit. Not to mention, like, the area on its own was a little bit sketch. It's like you have like these two things that look like alien saucers, and you're out there by yourself. It's raining, it's dark, and it's like nobody's out there. And I was like, dude, I was so lucky that Fast Pokemap was there. Had Fast Pokemap not been there, I don't know what I would have done. Now, at this point, I'm gonna show you guys some footage a little bit into the video, but at some point, I actually, you know, it's like when you push yourself to the limit and you reach that pinnacle point where you're like, it's like you start feeling like totally different. You start experiencing like these new sensations, and you're like, Alex, what are you on? But it's like, you know, like when you overstudy a lot, and it's like the next day you're like, man, I could do anything, you know? It's like at that point, given like how emotional of a roller coaster it's been for me, given like my dad passed away and stuff, and being out there on my own and just knowing that this is a Squirrel Nest and chasing after this candy, it's like, it's there. It's like, here, Alex, grab this candy, you know, what are you gonna do about it? And I went out there and I hunted these for these squirrels, and I don't know, it felt like very liberating. I was feeling like very, I don't know, I felt like I was exploring and I was adventuring the unknown. Like, yeah, it's a Pokemon game, but I just felt like it was, I don't know, it felt like I was doing something really good and something new, like, that's beneficial for myself. You know, I felt like I was exploring out there and I was reaching these, like, unknowns. I don't know, it's like hard to explain it. I don't even know, like, what words to put on it. But, I mean, there was, like, the squirrels were non-stop there, but it's like sometimes when you would go into certain areas and, you know, like space exploration, right? Like, space exploration is I think is gonna test like the total limits of people. It's like, we're gonna have to go out there, we're gonna have to man these planets, we're gonna have to figure out how oxygen, food, all that's gonna come out, you know? So it's like when you're out there exploring, it's like, it's just you and this environment, you know? And it's like, it's a total man check. It's like, I mean, it's like a woman check, like I'm a man, like I'm a guy, you know, so I can't like really speak. But for me, like this event was like a total man check. It was like, what are you gonna do about the situation? Are you gonna give up or are you gonna keep going? And I felt like I just pushed myself to the total limit. It was raining. Sometimes they didn't spawn. It's like I was out there. There was nobody with me. Like I was by myself. And it just, I don't know, it just felt like really, really adventurous and cool. Okay, so I have 52 candy here. That time I had a whole bunch of Stardust too. I have, like I'm about to hit 700,000 Stardust. Man, this episode was so long ago. I don't know why I was like harboring this for so long. But I had 52 candy, so at that point, I was like, alright, dang. Like literally, dang. It's 9 o'clock. I want to go home. I want to get out of this rain. And like, thankfully it wasn't pouring buckets, you know. If it was like pouring buckets, I think I would have been like, I would have been so soaked and I would have come home sick. But I had snacks with me. I had snacks, I had water, I brought some fruits, I brought some like little things to munch on. I brought like a few sandwiches, I got extra batteries, I had like a few cameras on me. I had extra SD cards, extra batteries. I had my battery pack. I think I was running my battery pack the whole time. Yeah, it's like, what is it, 89%? So we're at 89%, and you know, I just like it was just fun. You know, I wish there was somebody with me though, because, you know, like, okay, so this area, actually synthetic turf field, at this point, this is where I made my first mistake of going away from the observation decks. Okay, this area that I walked up to, when I was hunting Charmanders, that's when a whole bunch of Charmanders spawned like really fast for me. And then, but you see on the bottom over there, like where the Pidgeys were, the Squirtles weren't spawning by the observation deck. So I was like, okay, I see these 3 other Squirtles. Let me go up to this lake reservoir area. This area was like the creepiest, man. It was so dark. I think this guy runs away from me too. And it felt like they had like these fish in like this little reservoir. It felt like this man-made like thing. It was like, basically when I went out there, when this first Squirrel ran off, I was like, okay, this was a mistake, because I walked really far up there, and I think by the time I got up there, you see, because it's not a 12-minute distance. It takes at least 10 to 14, 13 minutes to walk out there. And then when you got to come up to this other one, you got to take a turn, because it's a really big park. And at that point, I was like, I shouldn't have not gone up here, because I'm missing out on all these other Pokemon, and I'm trying to fill my quota of candy so I can leave early. And it's not that it's like 20 minutes, you know, everybody has like 15, 20 minutes, whatever. But at that point, I was like, it's gonna take me that much longer to get out of here, because like now there's just no Squirtles. You know, now I have to walk back. So, you see, there were 3 of these, but you see, even to get to that top 3rd Squirrel, I had to walk up all the way to the top of this lake reservoir, which wasn't very close. It was actually a pretty big distance. And I left this specifically in here, which by the time, like, it's 22 minutes into the video, I have no idea how I'm gonna edit this. Maybe I'll just do 2 parts. I'll probably just 2-part this video. Thankfully I was hatching eggs, okay? I had like 3 eggs, and I was hatching eggs, my Pokebag was full, you know, so there were some upsides to it. And I was coming really close to filling out my 100 candy quota. So here, I sped this up. But in between these areas, like, I was like, I'm not gonna catch anything else but the Squirtles, because I need the Pokeballs, and I spent a lot of Pokeballs, but there was also a lot of Pokestops. But at that point, like, I'm gonna show you guys my journal here in a second, but at that point, I actually even caught a Slowpoke, I caught a Dratini, I caught a few Magikarps, I caught an Eevee, and it was a low CP, it was like 500 or something. Dratini was pretty low too, but it was like there was just no Squirtles to catch up there, so I was like, okay, look, I might as well just catch something else. So you see how there's that's where the you see this area? That's where usually the Squirtles were, but they just weren't popping up. Okay, so there's a Pikachu, there's that Dratini, there's 293, Slowpoke. What else do we have? We had a Magikarp. We had a few more Squirtles. We had some run away. We had quite a few run away, and that's the biggest bummer. Alright, I'm gonna let you guys watch some catches for a little bit. I'm gonna take a break. So these will be I think this will be like about 5-6 minutes of catches, if you guys want to enjoy them. And I didn't want to cut out any catches. I wanted to leave them, so you guys, you guys get to experience what it's like out there. Even everything that ran off, I left in there. So I'm gonna leave this as is. I'll be back here in about 5-6 minutes, and you guys will get to enjoy the rest of the evolutions. Oh, here's that 763, by the way. Yeah, there he is. That's 763. That's the highest one that I caught. You guys will see me actually catch him pretty quick. squirrel's right in front of me. That was funny. Here, let's take a screenshot. Alright, I'm gonna click on him before he disappears. Let's see, this one's 694. I've been getting pretty high squirrels. The one that I'm gonna evolve is gonna get at 764. I will chase the CP. You could, there is an advantage with soup. I mean, there's definitely, original tech was really good against Dragonite. I mean, we've seen videos of people taking down like 3,000 sheep and Pokemon with it. This area is a little rough. There's such a the goal right now is 100 candy. And once I get 100 candy, I think I'll have enough to transfer. If you guys noticed, I started with like about 10, 11 candy. I hardly used anything. They're all pretty much, I catch them all. I mean, I lost maybe 5 or 6. I can try to 6 more. Alright. Alright, that was pretty exciting. Okay, so you guys saw my 763. He had strong IVs, and I knew I was going to evolve him, but I was short. Okay, I was counting how many Pokemon I had, but I was short by like 3-4 candy. And as I was leaving, I had to walk all the way back. Now remember, like the security asked me there, like, look, the park, gentlemen, like the park is closed. It was 11 p.m. Okay, I'm tired, like. Not like too soaked, like it drizzled, you know, it was drizzling, it was misty. So I was like, I gotta dip out, and I also, like, the ride home is really long, it's like an hour or something. But as soon as I get on the train, what do you know, this Squirtle pops up, the 619. Now, I think the reason I was having such difficulty catching is because the train was actually moving at this point. The train was moving, and like you see, the reception is already kind of going a little bit bad. Now, because he hung out for so long, I knew that I was going to catch him. I was trying to clear, like, usually when I'll clear everything that's running in the background, usually that works. But sometimes, like, even when I'm in a tunnel, I don't know how, but sometimes I can still catch my Pokemon. Like, even if, like, the ball over there, like, spins. You see that white ball? That means it's having connectivity issues. There we go. I finally catched this guy, and I knew that I had my candy for this Blastoise. He was 619, and that was 105. And I think I had like another 19 Pokemon to transfer. So you see, that's me riding on a train. This whole time, this guy was just hanging on there by like a thread, and I can't believe I caught this little Squirtle. And he was a really high CP one too. He was actually 619. If I wanted to, I could have evolved him. So at that point, that's it. We were at the Squirrel Nest. We had gone out. Look at my Magikarp. Look at him. I sped this up like by, I don't know how much. But I'm about to start transferring all the Squirtles. At first I was like, I'm not going to do this Blastoise tonight. It's like, it's late. Let me do an actual like response video to this evolution or whatever. But I left there with enough candy. My Pokebag was still full to the brim. I even got some potions. And so here, at this point, I already transferred a whole bunch. Here I'm going to my last few. So transferred a 680. Again, these are really, really high CP Squirtles, like 700s. Like, not a lot of people get those. So I was actually really happy to even get them that high up. Like, what I really wanted to do was, I wanted to keep the first two 700s. Like, I wanted to keep them. And there was this second War Turtle, which I actually didn't transfer there. And I should have probably. Like I transferred them since then. But for some reason, I thought maybe I'll save them for trading. But given how, like, sometimes, like, really, really late things happen with Niantic, I knew, like, I wasn't going to trade them. So here we go. We're getting our first Squirtle. Now, I have 124 candy here. Now, what happens is when you evolve a Pokemon, you get +1. For some reason, you get +1. So I knew I was gonna have enough candy to evolve this Wartortle into my Blastoise now. Now he's gonna be the highest Wartortle I have, and you see, if I didn't get that +1, I would have 99 candy, which I would have had to transfer that Wartortle, and I still needed one more Pokemon because I knew even if I transferred that 800 CP Wartortle that I have, I still knew that I wouldn't have had enough. So I still needed something. So we really, really lucked out with that last Squirtle, and he was like literally as soon as I got on the train, he was there, and it was the coolest thing. I was really, really happy with it. So here it goes. Here's our Blastoise. He came out of a 12-11 Wartortle, the highest I've ever had. He's 1964. He had Water Gun and Flash Cannon, which are really good moves. I praised him. He was really strong. I still use him in battles and stuff like that. Just last night I was battling a Mystic Gym. Not to take it down, just like I'm about to reach level 30, so I just wanted to battle something. And so yeah, so there we go. We got our Blastoise. I'm going to finish you guys off with some egg hatches. Those were the ones that I had while I was walking the whole time, which made it a little bit interesting. So here's a Magikarp. We got a 5 candy on him. So with this event, I will get 10 candy. So I'll get 10 Magikarp candy. Here was my second hatch. We had an Execute. That was a 5-kilometer egg, and we got 13 candy. So with this event, it'll be 26 candy. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you you get a chance to go out into a Squirrel Nest if there is one in the area. If there's not a Squirrel Nest, you gotta go check something else out. Anyway, I will catch you guys in the next episode. Stay tuned for these 2 times candy events. I'll be vlogging every day. I will put up 4 episodes. If I get more catches, I'll try to split them up and something like that. So maybe, I don't know. I think it'll be just an episode a day for now. But I had a really good turnout with subscribers, and I'll probably be coming out with some kind of giveaways or something like that. So be sure to check in for that. Especially if you're subscribed, I definitely want to give back to the guys that have got me to 500. It's like, but I also have something for like new subscribers and stuff like that. And it's just, it means a lot, you know, you guys are showing support, and I'm not a very big channel, you know, but I do try to make these videos and stuff like that. Anyway, I'll catch you guys in the next video.